Hey everybody, it's your girl Pajama, and today we have a lot of great shows to review this evening. Let's take a peek. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's your girl Pajama with Pajama Life. And today we are reviewing, it's finally here after 2 long years, House of the Dragon. Are you Team Black or Team Green? And The Acolyte, as well as the very interesting female Muslim punk band comedy drama, We Are Ladyparts. But I couldn't do it without these two guys right here. Pat, our guru of all things Marvel, and King. Say hey to the people.
Hey everybody, glad to be here. I want to talk about these shows we're reviewing, or something to talk about.
And this guy, David, say hey to the people.
Hey everybody, great to be with you. I can't wait to hear everybody's opinions on these shows this week, as we have a civil discourse, but see if it's as hot in the conversation as it is outside. Looking forward to going.
Oh my gosh, what you mean civil? Here we go with the most uncivilized show on TV right now, House of the Dragon, Season 2.
Duty is sacrifice. It eclipses all things, even blood. All men of honor must pay its price.
She is grieving.
The mother grieves as the queen shirks her duties.
It was only when I saw my daughter's mortal remains that I could begin to mourn her.
With my dragon and yours together, we can kill Vhagar and her rider. Make it a son for a son.
Oh boy, this was an episode, but Pat has read the book. So, Pat, what's your take on House of the Dragon Season 2? A son for a son.
I am so glad to see us getting back to Westeros. I mean, I do really love the world building that George R. R. Martin has done here. Mm-hmm. And this is actually George R. R. Martin in like the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, which was just George R. R. Martin at best ghostwriting, or maybe at best glancing over the script. Oh yeah, that's a check. Let's go. They kind of shied away from a little bit of some of the more gruesome.
What? It was gruesome as it was.
Well, they avoided, the I don't want to call it infanticide, but
scene.
Yes, because it was pretty. Yeah. I don't want to say graphically, but it was definitely more shocking when I read it in the book, and you're like, but at the same time, it's Game of Thrones, so I'm like, yeah, that's no big deal. It's just Tuesday in Westeros, that sort of stuff happens there. I mean, I do love this series, and I'm really glad to see it come back. And they really got a good feel for the world. It feels like, this is the best of every reality TV show, the best of every. Yes, I mean, as far as just the drama, the pathos, the backstabbery going on. I mean, the weird alliances being built amongst the people and stuff, and the unseen currents and things going on. This is what George R. R. Martin stuff is really good for. I mean, and it doesn't shy away from the more horrible portions of these stories in the books, because I mean, medieval Europe, which seems to be the favorite setting for every bit of fantasy. You never see much fantasy set in like feudal Japan or the steppes of Russia. Yeah. There's a little bit, but not much. But the thing is, generally because we're a Western audience and we're all more familiar with that whole history. But man, the history of Western Europe was not all just tea parties and clean battles and go home and everybody has a great time and now I'm the king, yay. No, it was terrible stuff. And this is really interesting to see it go through that whole terrible stuff going on there. So I am enjoying the heck out of this. I do love Matt Smith. He was one of my favorite doctors in the Doctor Who series, and seeing him playing this kind of bad guy is really kind of fun. So I'm loving it so far.
David, chime in here because I got thoughts.
All right. It's great to be back in Westeros, in this world, in many ways. A couple things. Now, I'm not the avid reader of these books, so
I haven't read any of them.
Okay, so you and me, we're here.
Yeah.
In terms of prepping for it, I hadn't watched any of it since we last got together, and so I'm trying to remember who are all these like white blonde haired people, because they all look alike.
Oh,
Lord. They all kind of blended in for a minute.
All the Targaryens or Targaryen lineage, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit. I do enjoy, the political aspects of it. I don't as a cast, and I think Matt Smith is fantastic, and I bet he loves the role he's got here. There's a lot to it. The characters all kind of blend in for me. So I'm not, they really do. I'm not getting a sense of this, unlike, say, the first Game of Thrones. I was enjoying it. I'm sure I'll get back into it. The killing of the kid, man, that's
a spoiler for people
well,
out there.
But boy, you
should have watched it by now. It's been a week.
I mean, whoa. I mean, you got the axe going there, man. That was intense, and made me wince a little bit. But strong acting, great drama. It's not for the faint of heart. So if you've seen the other one, if you've seen Brother and Sister in Conjugal Bliss, they're at
episode 1, season 1. Yep.
In the cemetery with the kid.
They pushed Bran out the window like the first season, the first
episode 1, season 1. Yep.
So, they don't take care. There's no child protective service in Westeros.
I just hope that Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, who've got a new military alliance a little tighter than before, hope they're not fans of this show. We don't want to give those guys any more ideas.
Yeah, boy, I tell you. Okay, my thoughts. I got thoughts because I did go back and rewatch last season to get ready for this season, and I'm glad I did because it takes place, I guess, like pretty quickly after last season. So there's not a lot of time that has passed since whatever happened last season. So the story is now this is something I heard from read about from George R.R. Martin. He said that this story is the story and the books are lore and kind of historical documents because so many people have written them. So they're not exactly the truth. So it's an interesting thing to think about that the TV shows are what takes place. So I thought that was interesting, and go check out, there's some articles out there about what he says about it. And I think that it was so interesting how people, that's why I was a little confused a little bit, because if it's only been at most a couple weeks, boy, people have kind of changed. What's his name? Jaehaerys has kind of changed in 2 weeks. Jace, he kind of got a little bit older in 2 weeks, but
2 years, something like that.
Yeah. And but what I thought was interesting was the interactions Damon had, because I do think that he told Blood and Cheese, which is a really funny name for these two characters, to if they didn't find him, to take a son. So I think that was kind of his deal anyway. He's that vicious that he would do something like that. And I thought that Alicent is the biggest hypocrite All the first season, it was, how could you sleep with these people? How could you sleep with this other person? And now she's getting her back blown out by Sir Kristen, and he's a big old hypocrite too. And okay, but here's my question about the whole thing with Helena and her kids and blood and cheese. Why was there no one, no guards anywhere? And this is the literal queen of the land. She has no guards outside of her room. She has no attendants. There's nobody around in the hallways or nothing.
Well,
so anybody could have rolled up and killed them at any point. That was crazy to me. Did you guys catch that?
I got some thoughts about that. What you just said. Okay, first off, it's in the Red Keep. I mean, it's a secured fortress already. It's in the only way you're going to betray anybody. Well, no, but I'm just going to say the only way anybody gets betrayed in like from the CIA down is by they trusted people, and they have people working inside that building that they are trusting, and sometimes they choose poorly. Like they chose Cheese to be the rat keeper, and he had to learn all the ways of the keep in order to get all these things, and he knew all these things. They had to trust him that he was either scared of them or they feel that they have him in a place where he can't do anything terrible to them because he's there, because they're his protector or whatever. And that's the way every betrayal happens.
Could it been that Sir Kristen Cole was supposed to be out there, but he's getting his freak on with Allison, so he's not doing his duty. Once again, he's all up in the mix and not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So he's trash. And poor Helena. I don't know what she's like in the books, but that poor thing keeps telling them every time, I'm scared of the rats. And beware of the rats. And then before it was, there's something below the boards. There's the spider. I mean, she keeps telling stuff. So she kind of reminds me of Cassandra in Greek mythology, who keeps telling the truth and no one listens to her or believes her. And now, Pat, maybe you know, because this also, I was confused. I was like, not confused. Well, confused when Corliss was talking to the harbor master, I guess. But there was some interesting dynamic there, him talking to him. So do we think that's one of his illegitimate children? Or
the hair color.
You see him and his son, the other guy and his son in the upcoming on the show. So I was like,
Well, there's a possibility. I mean, the thing is, and this happened all throughout the first series and the first series of books and stuff, where King's gonna do kingly things. That means, yes, they have their wife, which will produce a true-born heir or whatever. But then there's also, the Jon Snows, and running around all over. Everybody had them, and they all had different nicknames for, if you were from somewhere up in the north, your kids are Snow, or if you were they had different nicknames for the bastard children of the lords and ladies, or not ladies, but the lords, these places. And it's medieval Europe again, basically.
Yeah.
Where, kings did what they did, prima nocte or whatever,
So I'm wondering if that's going to pop up, that's one of his,
that's a good catch. There's going to be some kind of relationship.
Yeah. And
maybe he's looking for a son and he adopts him if he's not.
Yeah.
Put him there.
And then I wonder if, because I heard something about Laenor was seen in the credits some kind of way. So I don't know if Laenor is going to make an appearance or if they're going to show, I guess he dies in the books. But are they going to show that or something? So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I think that the Rhaenyra and Daemon, that was an interesting little fight where he thought he was gonna just tell her what to do, and she was like, "Boy, get out of my face." So I think it was full. The episode was kind of full of these new kind of pairings too, with Aemon and Sir Kristen. You know, not Aemon. Is it Aemon? Aemon and Sir Kristen having little convo. And then old Clubfoot Joe there, him and his sneaky self. I think he was kind of jealous that he didn't get to have his brunch foot fetish session with her. But I'm thinking that the current hand, may not fare too well in the future. I think, what's his name, Sir Laris, is about to put his club foot up and kick him out and take over as the hand. So, but now let's the question: are you Team Black or Team Green, and why? David, Team Black or Team Green?
I'm just gonna stick with the Starks up until I remember who all these people are.
No.
There's no good guys in this. There's no protagonist in my mind. There's bad on both sides. You can't pick a side here other than I'm for the bank. I'm for the Starks. I'm for the money. And I'm also here for the blood, but I don't have a team.
Well, I forgot one more thing that I thought was just one of the best scenes, and I didn't realize it until I watched it again. When Rhaenyra goes on the beach with her dragon, and they find Luke's cloak and the wing of the dragon, and I didn't realize until I read that it was Rhaenyra's dragon's baby that Luke was riding. So they both lost a child, and then you hear the dragon, wailing as she's crying too. And I was like, okay, this is too much. This is gonna make me cry. That's so sad. But I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was really a brilliant kind of subtle scene there. And Pat, Team Black or Team Green?
At this particular junction, I don't want to tip my hand.
Okay.
I mean, smart people always sit on the fence until it becomes clear that somebody's got the upper hand. I'm just saying. I went. I'm definitely for Rhaenyra's, so I'm like, I'd like to see her. Okay. She was the designated heir. Everybody else was just trying to overstep their bounds and do stuff they're not. They were not. They just feel that because I want it. I want it, so it must be mine. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of the opposition on this particular instance. Rhaenyra is the legitimate heir, as designated by her father as he was dying of whatever the heck that was, that rot or he had. It was really delightful. So I'm just saying.
Leprosy. It was leprosy.
It was leprosy. Yes, the Leper King. So I mean, it was good to see. I'd like to see her come out on top because she's supposed to be. She's supposed to. I mean,
that was a tough week.
Everybody just follow the rules. You won't have any problems. That's the biggest thing in the world. Yeah. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I'm Team Black until I see anything different because Allison is a snake. And what's his name? Kristen Cole is a snake. Her daddy's a snake. Them kids are snakes.
Kids are horrible. The kids are terrible. But
but if you think about it, they're her too. Sometimes children are a reflection of you. So that's who she is, and her kids are just able as men to be able to display all those behaviors. So we'll see, but it was a great first episode, and looking forward to seeing what's going to come up next week for the next, is it 10 episodes? I hope it's 10 episodes. 10 weeks. Okay. Next up is a new show that, it had a second season, and it is about a female Muslim punk band band. We Are Ladyparts. Let's take a peek.
Band life was going great. Ladyparts had a tour and a following of actual human fans. It felt like we were leveling up. And you want to know why? Because we were in our villain era.
It's good to be back.
We, Ladyparts, are going to record an album.
An album?
A hit record. An opus.
We should have been excited, but we were all a little jangly. The forces of the universe seemed to be conspiring against us.
They're called Second Wife. They're using our music to get famous. I think Ladyparts could be huge, and I can help you get that.
Make it dirty.
I can be dirty, I can totally be dirty.
Okay, we're serious musicians, not vapid agents of capitalism. I feel like an idiot. Yeah, well, you look like one so the shoe fits.
Go out there and show the world who we are.
Man, David, what did you think of We Are Ladyparts?
Well, after I explained to my wife that is an official show that we're watching, the name of it kind of grabbed her in a different way. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was very surprised that I found it so engaging, but just a neat story. And for folks who think about, and obviously there's certainly, there's a demographic in the characters that we don't often see in regular Western programming in this positive a light. At the end of the day, you've got a group of friends or folks becoming friends who have a shared passion and a journey together. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and I laughed a little bit along the way too. So this was neat.
Yeah, Pat, what did you think?
This was the best. This is the best thing you picked in a long time. I loved this. This was absolutely delightful. First off, I love that kind of music. That is like right in my wheelhouse. That's something I play punk music at least twice a week in my classes because it's amazing. Punk music, right. So, and then it had a real Scott Pilgrim versus the World feel, which is another movie that I just love. The kind of self-deprecating asides and just the actual filming technique was very, very much like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Which is one of my favorite stupid movies about music. Which this was. I really can't tell you how much I like this because it was that much. It was just there was so much good stuff in that. All the characters were well drawn as far as their individual personalities. They all interacted well. There was the proper amount of tension between everybody's personal interests and trying to balance their work and fun and everything. And it was just top notch, very good.
Yeah, and this is like David said, this is a segment of the population we don't get to see in Western TV, and to see it in a light way, but still dealing with real issues around women and feminism and Muslim faith and integrating your faith into your life, but then having to code switch to be out here, especially in England. The show is set in England, so it is a really nuanced way that they dealt with these issues. They could have, it could have been a hammer, but instead, they took it with some strong tea with a little bit of sugar in it. The music was on point. The way they made Britney Spears songs into punk. What is that band who did The Reason? Was that One Direction? I think it was. Some of these songs that we take for granted, but with a punk twist to them, really make it a lot of fun. And the Glass Ceiling song was really great. And so I really like how they also integrated some of the songs were like music videos. And so you got to see it. But I really enjoyed the feminism aspect of it, the LGBTQ part of it, which was a very interesting storyline for one of the band members to be a lesbian, but not out. And that was the tension. Is she out because what does that do in her community for her? That could literally cost her her life and her family. Or does she stay in the closet, but she has a British girlfriend? And then what does that mean? And so it's an interesting perspective on it. One that in America would have been like, oh, she made the wrong choice, blah, blah, blah. But maybe not. And so I thought that was really cool how they handled it, which was not a traditional way, but made sense for that person. And the all of their relationships were a lot of fun, and you got to see some punk women in there, and just some real hard truths about the music industry. So, I think if you haven't watched We Are Ladyparts, and we all agree it's a really great show. Maybe not for little kids, but because there's a lot of language. It is about punk, so it's a lot of F-bombs. Definitely check out We Are Ladyparts. It is a fantastic show on Peacock. All right. Finally, it's the 4th episode day of The Acolyte. Let's take a look.
That's our time.
I came to say goodbye. You're not staying? Someone must find May before she does any more harm. But it's not me.
You know, your sister being alive doesn't change anything. You need to kill the Wookiee. You made a deal.
In the name of the Galactic Republic and the Order of the Jedi, anyone inside that domicile should come out with your hands where we can see them.
Ooh, wait, David. What did you
A lot to discuss here. We'll start with the important phrase, let the Wookiee live. Let the Wookiee live.
I'm with you 100% on that. I was pissed.
They missed such a golden opportunity in this High Republic era to show us a Wookiee Jedi. Now we can talk about things to little grandiose little gifts for treats for the fans. That would have been something, even if he was gonna die. We got spoilers here, but you should be watching this. That's a concern to me from that aspect of it. That's a serious concern. And maybe this is consistent with May's character. We saw in episode 3 is like, I love you. I don't want to see you leave. Well, I'm going to leave. Well, then I'm going to kill you. That kind of a turn in character. She's like, I'm working here. I'm walking in the forest. You know what? I don't need to do any of this. I don't have to. I can just hang out with my sister. There's a real change in character and motivation.
It's like we're missing some scene in each episode that would explain everything.
I feel, I think we're on the same page there. Those are concerns. I am curious to see what we have here with, and I'm going to use the nickname I've heard online because I think it's appropriate. The Smilo Ren helmet. I'm looking forward to seeing who this guy is or woman, whatever this Sith is. I think that's
Smilo Ren.
The concern here, the bigger concern, and there's a really neat little thing I'll close with, is the role of Ki-Adi-Mundi and the concerns of canon. They went 100 years into prior to the Phantom Menace up until Tuesday night, 9:20 Eastern time. Wikipedia, the Wikipedia for Star Wars, Ki-Adi-Mundi was not born yet. So there was some kind of moving and shaking of the character. He wasn't supposed to have been born yet. So they made some changes. Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't born yet, according to.
And that's who that character is. It's not
he
like
really
his
was.
brother.
He was named that in the story. So, and he had the famous line. Well, we haven't seen Sith here in a millennium. clearly the political aspect of the Jedis not being transparent with one another and playing this political game. We're seeing some real shades of gray here between light and dark. Some people might not like that. I'm a little, I don't know about that. So that's a concern, and I think an unnecessary issue there. The other thing that was really cool that I enjoyed was there's a little guy named Basil.
Yes.
And Basil, and again, it's not stated here, but I did a lot of reading. I'm rewatching these episodes way more during the week than I should be, just to try to see if I like it or I don't like it, because I've gotten this. The character, the species of that character actually originated in some of the first expanded universe, 1979. Brian Daley, the wonderful late author, wrote about a corporate security, corporate sector rather, regional manager, a Tynan, that species, that was playing a
Oh
Froze
no. Okay, we'll get David back. Because he is our guru of all things Star Wars. But I kind of agree with what David said, that that hurt my heart when that Kanaka was injured, or killed, or whether. I was like, how you gonna kill a Wookiee? Okay, we got one show where they cook kicking dogs, and then we got this show where they killing them. I'm like, no, that's some BS right there. David, go ahead. Talk about Basil. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll come back to David when he unfreezes. But I watched it right before the we came on again, and I just that's just how I feel out there. It's like, I'm trying, but you know what? I kind of the opposite of David. I was kind of with May at that point. She like, you know what? This is bullshit. Why do I have to do this? I'm not gonna hurt my sister. I'm gonna go and make it right, and so we can be together. I was like, I know that's right, girl. I wouldn't be sitting up there letting them kill my sister either. Forget that. So, David, you back?
I am back. I've gone to an alternate channel, so hopefully I'll be able to stay on. Some really neat things there, again, with Basil. There is something, it feels like there's something missing in the characters. I still don't think that they're able to fully, in my mind, capture the essence of the Jedi for this story. And while the Amandla has, I think, been as the protagonist and the antagonist potentially, she's really shined brightest in this show. I can't get May or her motivation in this. There's things that are missing.
Yeah.
And I think so. From a storytelling perspective, I have concerns. I think some of the things that they're bringing up, there's a point of view and things with this story that I think are unnecessary. I think they're bringing in. I think they're bringing in unnecessary challenges and problems in a divisive way that I don't think needs to be there for Star Wars. And just this, I just don't think it's the right venue for the storytelling.
Yeah, and I think that they're about to dirty up the Jedi in a way that is really unfortunate, because something happened with those witches, and it's destroying all of them. The secret is destroying all of them. If you look at their characters, it's destroying them. So, and I don't like that for the Jedi. I don't like that they would make the Jedi do something really heinous. And you can say it's 100 years ago, blah, blah, but no, that's not, I don't think genocide is part of the Jedi code at all. So I'm kind of like, man, they better not hit me with some BS about, what happened really. And the killing Kanaka, I'm just like, why would you do that? All of us love Wookiees. I don't know no one who's out there like, man, them Wookiees are some BS and I don't like them. Nobody says that. That's crazy. So
if you gotta kill a Wookiee, we should have killed Chewie's father, Itchy, because man, he was OB. If you're gonna get rid of anybody, but Kalnaka really not.
No,
it's a myth.
We still haven't seen a fully fleshed out Wookiee Jedi, which I was really hoping, like you said, that I wanted to see a Wookiee be a Jedi. I can't think of anything more exciting than to see a Wookiee Jedi. And then they just killed him. I was like, what kind of mess is this? So and I think, here's my prediction. I could be wrong. I think Manny Jacinto is the Sith, and he's about to go off on everybody. So I don't know. That's my thought, that he's actually the master and she's the apprentice. Pat, I know you had to wait a little bit, but what's your thoughts?
Well, looking at it, and I did watch it a week ago, so it's not super fresh in my mind, but I was just so happy to see the appearance of a real bad guy there at the end of it, because it has seemed to have been not really focused in the first couple episodes on an individual antagonist. You had May, but you felt there's a certain amount of sympathy, yes, because, there's things going on, and yes, she's overreacting according to all the viewpoints we're seeing. And so, it just didn't feel real epic enough, I guess, for lack of a better word. So to see someone at the very end showing up who looks like they might be badass, to take on a few Jedi, and I'm like, okay, well, that tracks. I'm down with this, So that was the exciting part of it. I hadn't thought of the Manny Jacinto being but according to canon, there's always two, and a master and an apprentice. So there's got to be somebody teaching her this dark force stuff. I mean, there has to be. You just don't walk out in the force and go, hey, maybe if I start, next thing you know, you're Sith. There has to be someone to lead you down the path to perdition, as it were. Mm-hmm. So, and as far as, lots of deaths, we just watched Game of Thrones. So, and this is light. This is so light compared to that. I'm just saying the motivations are. So much cleaner, and and not so brutal about it. So this felt kind of a palate cleanser to me, and to be honest, I've always thought that, and nobody, and here's the thing about the Jedi versus the Sith or whatever, everybody thinks they're the hero in their stories. Everybody does. The Sith think they're the hero in their stories. The Jedi think they're the hero in the stories. And sometimes they probably are not the most heroic. They have to do terrible things to have the best outcome or whatever, So things happen, and I'm sure that the Jedi code was that they wanted to do the best they could to save everybody or whatever. And, maybe they thought by killing this coven of witches, they were going to save millions or something. It's always that horrible calculus, the trolley problem, as it were, type of thing. So I don't necessarily.
You gonna kill a bunch of women?
Well, I'm just saying the Jedi, if it saved thousands and thousands of women, I mean, it's the trolley problem. What are you gonna do? The greater good, which the greater good. Well, so you let thousands die. Okay, that makes no sense. But at the same time, you got to kind of balance the good of the wholes, and sometimes that there may not be a great answer. There may not be a perfect answer where everybody lives. There may be an answer where, like, Han Solo has to get killed by his son, which is weak, still super weak.
Terrible. Weak. But that's Disney Star Wars thing to bring up, though, Pat.
Well, I think that it's something in the writing in this that we have issue with. And so they need to tighten it up. Hopefully, we're halfway through. We're really like at the halfway point.
We are.
So there's only 4 more episodes. So they got to turn this whole ship around. And speaking of ships, their ship this time I really liked. Anyway, but they got to turn this ship around because people are not feeling this show. I mean, some of it's some BS kind of stuff, but some of it for somebody like me who really wants to love it and is struggling with it, they're going to have to figure out, and maybe they do their magic once again and turn it around. But right now it's so dark. It is like the cloud of the Sith is over the series, and it's murky and it's cold and it's like I don't want to be here. It's a bad energy.
That's interesting. And we're saying you and I are kind of in the same place with this show, maybe some slightly different reasons. And again, I can dig in different ways, but at the end of the day, it's that decision to make the Jedi show their weakness, their feet of clay, in this really Melee-esque Captain Cali kind of way that I think is grabbing us. Just as a quick note here to Kathleen Kennedy and everyone, and we don't have this as a sponsor, but I just want to remind people, some of our viewers, 1985, Coca-Cola, they'd made a decision, and they said, we're going to move away from regular our old classic Coke for new Coke because young people want Pepsi. And there was a big backlash. Coca-Cola didn't say, oh, you crazy, unpatriotic, horrible consumers. You should, you don't want Coke, you don't deserve Coke. No, they swallowed their pride and they brought back classic Coke. I invite Kathleen Kennedy and her people to say, you know what? There might be there's always some negativity in social media, but some people who are raising concerns about the quality of the writing might have a point. And if you're consumers, if your primary demographic wants a certain kind of Star Wars, maybe give us a little bit more of that. Andor, Mando season 1 and 2, good writing, good stuff, good characters. Put that extra little effort into that so that you don't keep giving us new Coke and demanding that we like it.
Or Crystal Pepsi.
Oh my gosh, Crystal Pepsi. Yeah.
Which I love, by the way. But come on, y'all. Y'all can't make it so dirty and so ambiguous. That's the word. Ambiguous that it has no value, So we'll see. We're gonna keep watching it. So we're not gonna stop watching, and we're gonna be right here talking about it. And everybody out there watching our show, let us know in the comments what you think of the Acolyte and House of the Dragon. Are you Team Black or Team Green? And please watch We Are Ladyparts. Pat, it is at that time. Give us some parting words.
Well, everybody stay cool. Make sure your animals all have enough water and you're letting them in as you need to. It's hotter for them. They're all wearing fur coats. So, again, just have a good week. Stay cool, and we'll see you next week.
David, give us some of your parting wisdom.
Just want to wish everyone a great week. Certainly love what Pat said about taking care of the animals. Take care of all the creatures out there. We all need a little bit of extra water. So we'll see you next time.
Hey, and next week we will continue our episodes with House of the Dragon and the Acolyte. But next week it's back in a new form. Another time jump. Orphan Black Echoes. We're going to take a look at that new series. And we will see you next time on Pajama Life. Take care. Bye.